The evaluation room was cold and bright. Kate Morrison sat in the metal chair while 3 officials looked at her test results on a screen. They were not impressed. "Strength rating at 0.75 of your body weight," one of them said. He was Kelthine, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. He did not look up from the data. That is weak for combat purposes. Most professional fighters score 1.5 or higher. Kate said nothing. She had learned that silence was often better than words. The second official, a smaller being called Vrex, who had skin like plastic, made a sound that meant laughing in his species. "She comes from Earth. Have you seen the gravity data? She carries almost nothing. And the oxygen levels. How does she even think? The human brain must be running on fumes." "The records say humans are emotional," the third official added. She was human herself, but from one of the core colonies. Her name was Margaret, and she had stopped thinking like Earth-born humans years ago. They panic in real conflict. They freeze. They cry. No combat value. Kate watched their faces. She had heard these words before, in different forms and different places. Back on Earth, her father had warned her about this. Christopher Morrison had been a soldier, had fought in Earth's harsh environments against creatures that did not believe in mercy. He had told Kate that the galaxy would measure her with their instruments and find her wanting. The instruments were stupid, he had said. The galaxy would learn. "Your file says you volunteered for competitive arena combat," Kelthine said, finally looking at her. "Do you understand what that means? You will enter the ring against creatures built for fighting. You will compete for money and status. Most importantly, you will probably lose. Lose quickly. Lose badly." "I understand," Kate said. "We are going to put you in qualifying matches," Rex said. "Low-level competition. Easy opponents. You will lose some. You will win some. You will earn credits. Eventually, you will retire with whatever money you made, or you will get hurt enough fight anymore. This is the way it works for lesser species." Kate did not react to the word lesser. That was what they all said. Everyone in the galaxy thought humans were lesser. They sent her from evaluation to the preparation chambers. The Meridian Station was a massive structure, built to host thousands of competitors and millions of spectators. The arena was the center of everything. A massive circular field with stands that rose so high they seemed to touch the station's ceiling. Kate had never seen anything this large. She had grown up on the colony world of New Haven, where everything was built small and tough, designed to survive storms and predators and other human settlers, who did not always play by rules. The preparation chamber was quiet. Other competitors were in other rooms, getting ready for their matches. Kate changed into the simple black combat suit they provided. It had no padding, no protection, just enough to keep from tearing completely open. She looked at herself in the mirror and saw a thin girl with brown hair pulled back tight and hard eyes. She looked like her father. That was good. A handler came in, a small alien who worked for the stadium. He checked her weapons certification and her medical status. He did not speak to her like the officials had. He just moved through his job efficiently. "First match in 1 hour," he said. "You are fighting a Krell, medium size, trained. You have no chances. Understand?" "Yes," Kate said. She sat in the chamber and thought about her father. Christopher Morrison had spent 20 years in Earth's deserts and mountains, fighting creatures that wanted to eat him, fighting other humans who wanted his resources, fighting the land itself. He had taught Kate to fight by making her fight. Not soft training. Real fighting. Against him, against older kids, against creatures they caught and released. He had taught her that pain was information. Fear was information. The body could do things the mind thought impossible. He had told her something the day She left Earth. He had said, "The galaxy is soft, Kate. It builds things that are strong in one way, weak in everything else. You are strong in all the ways that matter, because Earth made you strong all the ways. They will measure you with their machines and think you are nothing. Then you will teach them different." An hour passed. The handler came back. "Time," he said. The walk to the arena was long. Kate moved through corridors where she could hear the roar of the crowd above. The stadium was packed. Thousands of species had come to watch lesser fighters compete for small credits. They did not come to see Kate. They had come for entertainment, for betting, for the spectacle. The arena door opened. Light hit her like a physical thing. The noise hit her second, a wall of sound from all directions. The stands were filled. High above, in private boxes, the rich ones watched from comfort. Below, in the standing sections, ordinary beings pushed and shouted. She walked to the center and stopped. Her opponent was already there. A Krell, just as the handler had said. 7 feet tall, with armor-like skin and muscles that were clearly enhanced. It looked at Kate and made a sound that meant dismissal. It had faced thousands of opponents. This one was small. This one was soft. This one would fall. The match official, a neutral being from one of the measuring species, raised his hand. "Begin," he said. The Krell charged. Kate did not move. She watched it come, watched the way it moved, heavy and powerful and confident. It swung an arm at her, a blow that would break bones. Kate stepped sideways and forward at the same time. The arm passed where her head had been. She used that moment to move inside its reach. What happened next was not complicated. Kate had learned to fight on a world where everything wanted to kill you. The Krell had learned from training videos and instructors. Kate had learned from reality. She struck. It fell. She kept striking until it did not move anymore. The arena went quiet. The official looked confused. The medical team rushed out to check if the Krell was alive. It was broken but alive. Kate stood in the center and breathed normally, not even accelerated. "Next opponent," she said. They thought she meant she wanted to rest. They did not know that on Earth, fighters did not rest. They did not have that option. The next creature was brought in. This one was smaller, faster, more experienced. Kate moved differently this time, adapting, learning, fighting like something alive instead of something trained. It fell. Again and again, they brought opponents. By the time an hour had passed, 8 creatures had entered the arena. By the time an hour had passed, all 8 had fallen. Kate stood in the center of the arena, blood on her suit, no serious wounds, breathing normally. The crowd did not roar. The crowd did not move. The crowd sat in silence, trying to understand what they had seen. In the official's box. Kelthing looked at the data. The numbers made no sense. The girl had not gotten stronger. The instruments had measured her the same way. But something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Kate walked to the exit and did not look back. The galaxy was about to learn that it had made a mistake. The video spread across the station faster than anyone expected. Within minutes, millions of beings had seen the footage. A human girl. 8 opponents. 1 hour. All of them down. By hour 2, the betting syndicates were losing money faster than they could calculate. Contracts were being canceled. Spectators who had placed bets were demanding refunds. The arena managers were in emergency meetings that lasted only 10 minutes because there was nothing to say. Nobody knew what to do. Kate sat in the preparation chamber and breathed. Her body felt fine. Better than fine. The adrenaline was wearing off now, leaving her calm and clear. She had done what she came to do. She had shown them that Earth was not weak. A message came through on her communication unit. It was from her mother, Diana. The message had taken 3 months to reach her, sent from New Haven Colony. Diana had known the match was scheduled. She had watched it from a communication relay, seeing her daughter fight in the arena on Meridian Station, millions of kilometers away. The message was short. I am proud of you. Your father was right. Come home after you have made them understand. Another message came in. This one was from someone called Kevin Porter. The message said he was a human liaison officer working for the coalition government. He wanted to meet with Kate. He said it was important. Kate sent a reply accepting. She had already understood that what she did in the arena was not just about making money. It was about something larger. Her father had told her that one human could change everything if they showed what they really were. In the coalition administrative building, officials were gathering information. They pulled Earth's complete environmental database. They read through biology reports. They looked at gravity measurements, radiation levels, oxygen density, predator species counts. One official, a Vren scientist named Phallus, began calculating. She looked at the data, and her color changed from purple to a sickly brown. She called for her supervisor immediately. If this data is accurate, Phallus said slowly, then the female human from the arena is not exceptional. She is normal. She is ordinary. For her world, what are you saying? The supervisor asked. I am saying that Earth is a death world. Not one of the soft worlds we thought it was. Not a world that produces fragile creatures. A world that kills almost everything that is not strong enough. The girl who fought 8 opponents was just a 19-year-old without special training. Imagine what an actual trained fighter from Earth could do. Imagine 100 of them. Imagine 1,000. The supervisor went very still. In the arena district, contracts were being torn up. Fighters from a dozen species were refusing to compete. The human girl was being called a monster, a genetic anomaly, a one-time occurrence that would never happen again. But the data said something different. The data said that if humans were from a death world, then death worlds produced survivors. Not lucky ones, not exceptional ones, survivors, all of them. Kevin Porter was a tall man in his 50s with gray in his hair and hard lines around his eyes. He had been born on Earth in the military and had chosen to work with the coalition instead of staying in human space. He sat across from Kate in a small, quiet room and looked at her without pretending to be impressed. Your father trained you well, he said. It was not a question. He trained me like I needed to be trained, Kate replied. Earth does not have soft training. No, Kevin agreed. It does not. Are you aware that your fight has caused a major problem for the coalition? Good, Kate said. Kevin smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who remembered how to be honest. The coalition was built on the idea that there is a natural hierarchy, Kevin explained. The strongest species lead. The others follow. The humans were added to the coalition 3 years ago because we were useful and because rejecting us would have been difficult. But the coalition never believed humans were the same as them. We were an interesting addition to have. A novelty. And now? Kate asked. Now they are afraid, Kevin said simply. One human girl, untrained in their methods, defeated 8 professional fighters. The calculations are being made right now about what 100 human soldiers could do, what 1,000 could do, what we could do if we decided the coalition was not serving us anymore. He leaned back in his chair. Your father sent a message, by the way. It came in on the official channels. He wanted me to tell you something. What? Kate asked. He said, tell her the galaxy just learned what I always knew. She is doing good work. Kate felt something shift in her chest. It was not emotion. She had learned from her father not to value emotion, but it was recognition. She had understood what she was supposed to do, and she was doing it correctly. News broadcasts were running now, asking questions about humans. Scientists were being interviewed about Deathworld biology. Military strategists were running simulations about human combat units. Politicians were demanding meetings about human integration and power sharing. Kevin showed her some of the broadcasts on his personal device. Some beings were calling for humans to be removed from the coalition. Some were calling for humans to be given more power. All of them understood now that humans were not lesser. "What happens now?" Kate asked. "Now you decide," Kevin said. "You can take your winnings and go home. You can retire. You have done what you came to do. Or you can stay and fight again. Your choice will matter more than you think." Kate thought about her father. She thought about Earth. She thought about all the humans scattered across the galaxy, working jobs, being underestimated, waiting for someone to show the truth. "I want to fight again," she said. Kevin nodded, like he had expected that answer. "Then I need to tell you something important," he said. "There's a challenger coming. The coalition wants to prove that your victory was luck. They are bringing in Vexthala, the most decorated fighter in the galaxy. 200 matches. Never defeated. An entire species, genetically engineered for war. He's currently the only fighter willing to face you." Kate felt something move through her body. Not fear, not excitement. Just purpose. "When?" she asked. 3 days, Kevin said. "They are making it the main event. The entire coalition will be watching, not just to see if you can win, but to see what humans really are." Outside the window, Meridian Station hummed with activity. Above them, in the stands of the arena, workers were already beginning preparations for the next great match. The Deathworld girl had started something. And by hour 2, everyone in the galaxy wanted to know what would happen next. 3 days was not much time, but Kate Morrison did not need much time. She spent the first day studying Vexthala's records. The coalition had released footage from his 200 matches. Kate watched them all, not looking for mistakes, but looking for patterns. Vexthala was a creature from the species called the Vorthek. They had genetically engineered themselves for 3 million years, removing emotion and fear, replacing them with pure combat logic. Vexthala was the perfect example of their work. He was fast. Faster than anything Kate had faced. He was strong in ways that were hard to measure because his muscle was not like normal muscle. It was something more efficient, more compact, more dangerous. He had fought creatures bigger than himself and won. He had fought creatures that used weapons and won. He had fought other Vorthek in ceremonial duels and won every time. But in every match, Kate saw the same thing. Vexthala fought in patterns. He had been taught combat moves, and he executed them with perfect precision. He adapted when opponents adapted, but he adapted within the logic of his training. His brain was processing every moment like a computer, running programs. Kate had been taught to fight like something alive. On the second day, messages began arriving. The first one was from her father. It had been sent faster through official channels, priority communication. Christopher Morrison had one message. They teach him how to win. You were born knowing how to live. That is the difference that matters. Trust yourself. Another message came from Diana. It was longer. Diana had grown up on Earth like Kate, though before the colony was established. She had known danger. She had survived difficult things. She told Kate that every woman in New Haven was watching. They were all thinking of her as she faced this match. They believed in her because they knew what Earth made its children into. Messages came from other humans, scattered across the Coalition territory. A doctor on Vexthala's own station. A trader near the outer colonies. A soldier in the transport fleet. All of them said the same thing. Show them what we are. Kate trained for 2 days with Kevin Porter. He had been military once, trained in combat before he took his position with the Coalition. He was older now and slower, but he understood something important. He taught Kate to think about how Vexthala would fight. He taught her that fighting a creature that operates on pure logic meant there were predictable elements. Creatures did not have emotions, but they had constraints. They had boundaries, and boundaries could be broken. The night before the match, Kate did not sleep. She had learned on Earth that sleep before conflict was not always possible. The body would rest when it needed to. She sat in her quarters and thought about what she was about to do. She thought about Vexthala. He had trained his entire life for perfection. He had never failed. He had never even come close to failing. Tomorrow, he would face a human girl from a death world, and he would assume the same thing everyone else had assumed, that this was just another match, that his training would prevail, that his perfect logic would overcome all obstacles. He would be wrong. The arena on the day of the match was different. Kate had never seen it so full. Every seat was taken. Species from across the coalition had arrived to watch. High-ranking officials were in the best boxes. Betting syndicates had created new markets. Some were betting on Vexthala to win in under 1 minute. Some were betting on Kate to survive longer than she had in any previous match. Kevin walked with her through the preparation chambers. They did not speak much. There was nothing left to say. After this match, Kevin told her as she changed into her combat suit, "You will be more than a fighter. You will be a symbol. All of humanity will be defined by what happens in that arena. Understand that weight." "I understand," Kate said. The medical team checked her over. She was healthy. No injuries from the previous matches. No signs of strain. They looked confused. A normal human should have needed rest. Kate was not normal. She was a Deathworld human. Rest was not what she required. The crowd noise when she entered the arena was louder than anything she had heard before. Millions of voices. All of them watching. All of them waiting to see what would happen when two perfect things collided. One perfect because of training. One perfect because of survival. Vexthala was already in the arena. He was smaller than Kate had expected. Compact. Efficient. His skin was dark and smooth like polished stone. His eyes were large and cold and calculating. He looked at Kate and made an assessment. He saw a small human female, young, untrained in coalition combat methods. A genetic curiosity that would fall in moments. Kate looked at Vexthala and saw what he was. She saw the programming. She saw the perfection and the boundaries of that perfection. She saw something that was built instead of born. The crowd settled as the match official prepared to begin. High above, in the private boxes, coalition leaders watched. On screens across the galaxy, humans watched. On Earth, people gathered in transmission centers to see their daughter, their sister, their symbol. Enter the arena. The official raised his hand. "This is the championship match," he announced. Vexthala of the Vorthik, 200 matches undefeated. Genetic perfection of the combat species against Kate Morrison of Earth, the Deathworld challenger. The crowd erupted. Kate felt her breathing steady. Her father had taught her to be like this. Calm before action. Clear when everything was chaos. Ready to do what needed to be done. "Begin," the official said, and he dropped his hand. Vexthala moved immediately. He was faster than anything Kate had fought. His training took him forward in perfect attack formation. His limbs moved in calculated sequences, designed to overwhelm an opponent in the first moments. Kate moved. It was not a defensive move. It was not a trained move. It was something that came from growing up in a world that wanted to kill her. It was the movement of a human from a death world, reacting to threat with perfect clarity. The first moment of contact told Vexthala that something was wrong. The match was beginning. The fight did not end in minutes. Vexthala was faster. He was stronger in ways that instruments could measure. His training was perfect, and his execution was flawless. Every move was calculated. Every sequence was optimized. But Kate did not fight like something that had been optimized. She fought like something that had survived. When Vexthala struck high, Kate was already moving low. When he adapted to low strikes, she was attacking from angles that broke his patterns. She was not stronger than him, but she did not need to be. She was fighting like a creature that had learned its entire life that the enemy would be faster, stronger, better equipped. So Kate had learned to be something else. She had learned to be alive in ways that perfection could not account for. By the 10-minute mark, both fighters showed damage. Kate had blood on her face from where Vexthala's strike had caught her, accurate and hard. Vexthala showed no blood, but his movement was changing. His patterns were breaking. He was not used to opponents who would not fall within his calculations. The crowd had stopped betting. They had stopped talking. They were just watching, understanding that something profound was happening in the arena. Kevin Porter sat in the observation area and did not move. He had seen enough combat to understand what was occurring. Vexthala was a weapon. Kate was a survivor. Those were not the same thing. One was built. One was born from necessity. 15 minutes. Vexthala hit Kate in the ribs with force designed to break bones. The sound was bad. Kate felt something crack. A rib, probably. She kept moving. On Earth, people did not stop fighting when ribs broke. On Earth, broken ribs were part of a normal week. She struck back. 20 minutes. Vexthala was frustrated now, though his face did not show it. His training had not prepared him for an opponent that would not respond to pain the way normal creatures did. Kate was bleeding from multiple places. One eye was swelling from repeated strikes. Her movement was slower because of the rib damage, and she was still fighting. Kate was fighting harder now, because she understood something that Vexthala could not understand. He had been built for combat. She had been built for survival. Combat was what he did. Survival was what she was. Those were different things in ways that DNA could not make clear that moment-to-moment choice could reveal. 30 minutes. The crowd had become something different. It was no longer entertainment. It was not a match that could be bet on or predicted. It was two creatures testing the limits of what they could do, and the galaxy was watching the results. Vexthala was bleeding now. Not from strikes, but from internal injury. Kate's fighting had worn on him in ways his perfect body was not designed to handle. His training was superior. His strength was superior. But his body was not built to survive damage the way hers was. Deathworld biology adapted to punishment. Vorthic biology was designed to never need adaptation, because it was too perfect to take damage. Kate took another hard strike to her shoulder. She felt the joint tear. It was bad. She would not be able to use that arm effectively after this. She switched her stance and kept fighting. 35 minutes. The medical team was on alert, but the official would not stop the match unless one fighter went completely unconscious. This was championship level. This was what champions did. They survived. Kate was thinking clearly. She had learned from her father that pain was just information. Her shoulder told her she had limited movement on that side. The rib told her not to take deep breaths. The swelling in her eye told her to rely on her other senses more. These were not problems. They were adjustments. Her body would do what she asked of it because her body had learned that what was asked of it was survival. Vexthala was thinking differently. His mind was processing what was happening as a failure of his system. His training had assured him victory. His genetics had promised that he would be superior. What he was experiencing did not fit his understanding of what he was. That doubt was fatal. 40 minutes. Kate saw the moment Vexthala hesitated. Just a fraction of a second. Just the smallest delay before he executed his next move. It was what she had been waiting for. She moved inside his guard, into the space where his superior strength meant nothing because there was no room to use it. She struck him in the center of his body, where his engineered biology had the least protection because it had never needed protection there. His training had never included someone who would get close. His training had been for creatures that kept distance. Vexthela felt something break inside him. His body was not designed to heal injuries like that. His body was designed to never take them. He stumbled back. Kate did not hesitate. She had learned from Earth that when an opponent fell, you did not wait to see if they would get up. You made sure they stayed down. She moved. 42 minutes. Vexthela's legs gave out. He went to one knee. His mind, that perfect logical mind, was trying to calculate what had happened. The data did not make sense. He was supposed to win. His genetics and training and 200 victories said he was supposed to win, but he was on his knees. Kate stood in front of him, breathing hard, bleeding from multiple places. Her body damaged in ways that would take weeks to heal. She could barely see from the swelling in her eye. Her shoulder was not moving. Her ribs screamed with every breath. She also had not fallen. Vexthela tried to get up. His body would not respond properly. The injuries had caught up with him. His perfect genetic engineering had not prepared him for an opponent that would keep fighting even when. Broken. Kate moved again, and Vexthela fell. This time, he did not get up. The medical team rushed in. The official looked confused, as if the programming he was following could not account for what had just happened. The crowd was silent, then erupted, not in cheers, though some were cheering. In shock, in recognition of what had just occurred. The Deathworld girl had beaten the genetically perfect warrior, not because she was stronger, because she was willing to be broken and keep fighting anyway. Kate stood in the center of the arena, and the crowd understood something that would change the coalition forever. Humans were not the soft, emotional creatures they had thought. Humans were something else. Humans were things that could not be broken because they were not built for comfort. They were built for survival, and that made them something dangerous in a way that perfection could never be. The official came to her. He did not know what to say. Kate Morrison, a 19-year-old girl from a Deathworld, had defeated the greatest warrior in the coalition. The winner, he said finally, is Kate Morrison of Earth. But they all knew it was more than that. The winner was something larger. The winner was what happened when the galaxy finally understood what humans actually were. The medical wing kept Kate for 4 days. The doctors were fascinated and concerned. A human body should not have continued fighting with those injuries. The rib damage should have collapsed her lungs. The shoulder should have made further movement impossible. The internal bleeding should have made rational decision-making impossible. But Kate was a Deathworld human. Her body had adapted to continue through damage. It had learned over millions of years of evolution that stopping meant dying. So it did not stop. By the 4th day, she was well enough to walk. The healing was proceeding faster than the doctors expected. Another Deathworld adaptation. Humans did not just survive damage. They recovered from it. Kevin Porter was waiting for her when she was released. You did something very important, he said without preamble. The coalition is in crisis. Not the kind with fighting. The kind with questions they cannot answer. They walked through the station. Kate saw things that had changed. Humans were no longer being overlooked. She saw human workers receiving better jobs. She saw merchants treating human customers with respect they had not given before. The shift was subtle but real. The military is requesting human officers, Kevin continued. The scientific community wants to study Earth's environment. The trading consortiums want human goods and human partnerships. The government is restructuring to give humans more representation. And it all happened because a 19-year-old girl fought an undefeated champion and showed them something they had been too arrogant to understand. They reached a public transmission center. Kevin showed Kate the messages that had come in. Thousands of them. From humans on colonies. From humans working deep in coalition space. From children who had grown up being told their species was weak and fragile. They had watched Kate fight, and they understood now that they did not have to accept being lesser. One message was from Diana. Kate's mother had sent a personal communication, not through official channels. Your father knows he was right. We all know. Come home soon. But finish what you started first. The galaxy needs to understand that you were not an accident. You were just one human. And we have 7 billion more. Kate felt something shift in her chest. It was what her father had been trying to teach her. One person willing to be honest about what they were could change the trajectory of history. One person willing to fight could show a galaxy what they had been blind to. A message came through from the Coalition Council of Leaders. They were inviting Kate to speak, to consult on human integration, to serve as an advisor to the new human delegation, to help reshape what humanity's place in the coalition would be. Kate declined. Kevin looked at her with surprise. You understand what you are refusing? Yes, Kate said. Power and position and influence. But that is not what I came here to do. I came to show them what humans are. I have done that. Now they need to learn it themselves. What will you do? Kevin asked. Kate thought about her father. She thought about Earth. She thought about all the things the galaxy still did not understand, about what it meant to be human. I want to train, she said. The arena has other matches. I want to keep fighting. Let them see that I was not an exception. Let them see that any trained human fighter would be what I am. Let the myth grow until the whole galaxy understands that they made a mistake when they thought we were weak. Kevin nodded. He had hoped she would say that. Kate spent 2 weeks recovering. During that time, the coalition fell into something like chaos. Humans who had been content in quiet jobs started demanding better positions. Humans who had been afraid started speaking louder. The fear that had been pressed down for so long began to emerge as confidence. Some species were angry. Some were afraid. Some were reconsidering what partnership with humans would mean, if humans were actually competitors instead of subordinates. But the change had already begun. No amount of anger would reverse it. Kate returned to the arena 6 days after her match with Vexthala. Her wounds had healed enough. She was not at full capacity. Her ribs were still tender. Her shoulder was still weak. But she could fight. Word had spread that she was returning. The stadium filled before she even arrived. Millions of beings wanted to see her fight again. Wanted to know if the victory over Vexthala was a fluke or the beginning of something. She faced a challenger from a military species. A creature built for war, though not genetically engineered like Vexthala. Just trained and fast and strong. Kate beat him in 8 minutes. The next challenger came. Kate beat him in 12. Night after night, she fought. Some matches were close. Some were quick. Every single one ended the same way. The Deathworld girl, still recovering from injuries, still learning her own capabilities, still becoming something more. A message came from Earth, not from her family but from a human government official. They were noting her achievements. They were already planning to send human military observers to study Meridian Station. They were beginning to build something new. 3 weeks later, Kate was in the preparation chamber when an official came to see her. It was Kelthine, the same blue-skinned being who had dismissed her so easily in the evaluation room. I wanted to see you, he said without preamble. To tell you something I realized. Kate waited. She had learned that silence was often the best way to make others speak truth. I thought the instruments measured reality, Kelthine said slowly. I thought the numbers showed what creatures were capable of. I was wrong. The numbers measured one kind of thing, but they missed the entire category of existence that you come from. A world that is trying to kill you does not produce creatures that the instruments understand. It produces creatures that the instruments cannot measure. He paused. I want to apologize, he said. Kate could have said something kind. Her mother had raised her with kindness as an option, but her father had taught her something else. He had taught her to be honest. No, Kate said. You should not apologize. You should learn. Take what you have seen and share it with your people. Make the Coalition actually understand Deathworlds. Make them understand what Earth is. Make them understand that every human they meet is built from the same world that built me. Calthine looked at her for a long moment. Then he left without another word. Kate dressed in her combat suit. The handlers came to get her. The crowd was already roaring. Millions of beings waiting to see the Deathworld girl fight again. She walked to the arena and entered into the light. The announcer's voice boomed across the stadium. The Deathworld girl returns. Kate Morrison of Earth enters the arena. The crowd erupted, and Kate understood something her father had been trying to teach her since childhood. One human was changing the galaxy, not because she was exceptional, because she was exactly what Deathworlds made when they wanted to survive. She was just human. And that was enough. Somewhere on Earth, in the colony called New Haven, Christopher Morrison was standing in the transmission center watching his daughter fight. His wife Diana was beside him. All around them, people from the colony were watching one of their own change the galaxy, watching humanity stop being lesser. Christopher smiled. He had always known this was what Kate could do. He had raised her for exactly this moment. Not to be gentle, not to be soft, but to be honest about what humans were. His daughter was showing the galaxy that truth, and the galaxy would never be the same.